What if Chrono Trigger isn't just a story about time travel? What if its timeline is actually a map of the human soul? Each era we visit is more than a backdrop. It's a stage of human growth, a reflection of our instincts, our ambitions, our comforts, and the consequences of our actions. And finally, our ability to reflect and change. To understand this journey, we can look at it through the ideas of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. Freud described the human psyche as three parts: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is our primal drive for survival and pleasure. The ego mediates between desire and reality. The superego is our moral ideal, striving for perfection. Jung expanded these ideas with the concept of individuation, the process of uniting these forces to create a complete self. Chrono Trigger's timeline mirrors this inner journey. Each era we visit explores a different aspect of human nature, from our basic instincts to our highest ambitions, our routines, our regrets, and ultimately, our ability to grow into something whole. As we move through history, we're also moving through the stages of the soul itself. Prehistory is chaotic, raw, full of unfiltered energy. Humans live in huts, barter with fangs and feathers, and celebrate victories by drinking and dancing around bonfires. Ayla embodies this era completely. She fights barehanded, acts on impulse, and radiates life force. Her dialogue is short and instinctual, showing that survival, protection, and desire are all that matter here. The festival is not about luxury or comfort, it's about life itself, thriving in the face of danger. The story beats reinforce this primal theme. Chrono and his allies must retrieve Dreamstone to forge the Masamune, helping Frog reclaim his courage. They eventually face Zayla, the Reptite leader, in the climactic battle at the Tyranno lair. Zayla's final words acknowledge that her species is doomed. This moment is powerful. It shows that evolution is brutal and unforgiving, and that Lavos' fall is as much about natural selection as it is about destiny. Each victory feels transient, as the impact of Lavos reminds players that survival is never guaranteed. This era is pure id, the primal part of the psyche that Freud described as the source of our most basic drives. The id is hunger, desire, and survival without restraint. It acts on impulse, seeking immediate satisfaction rather than long-term planning. Humanity here has no laws, no structure, and no vision of the future. Life is about living in the moment, thriving or dying according to instinct. Even Lavos' name is instinctual, meaning big fire, as if the event that will shape all of history is nothing more than a natural disaster to these early humans. Ayla herself is the perfect embodiment of the id. She is physically powerful, fearless, and deeply loyal, but her choices are always guided by impulse and emotion. She leads her people not through strategy or reason, but through strength and charisma. Her worldview is simple: fight for your people, enjoy life fully, and never hesitate to act. Through her, the game shows that there is beauty in raw vitality, even if it lacks forethought. In contrast, Azela represents intellect and foresight. Yet despite her intelligence, she is doomed to extinction. This clash reinforces that nature's power often overrides reason or planning. The festival mirrors the millennial fair 65 million years later, but stripped of modern polish. The button-mashing drinking contest is a more primal version of the fair's soda juggling game. Feasting, dancing, and competition have always been central to human celebration, and this quiet parallel suggests that our nature has not truly changed. Our pleasures may become more refined, but they grow from the same roots. This continuity links humanity across time, reminding players that progress and technology have never erased our most basic instincts. By starting in prehistory, Chrono Trigger places us at the foundation of human nature. It is a world without morality or complex identity, where survival is the only ethic. Yet, from this raw beginning, the seeds of ambition and growth are planted. The forging of the Masamune is a perfect symbol of this transition. A simple material from this era becomes a legendary blade that shapes the destiny of future generations. Everything that follows in this timeline, from Zeal's hubris to the world's eventual ruin, grows out of this primal starting point. The id is necessary for life to begin, but also carries the potential for destruction if never tempered by reason or reflection. Zeal is breathtaking. The magical kingdom floats above the clouds, a utopia of luxury and intellect. Its citizens believe they have transcended the hardships of the surface. They dream their days away, debating philosophy and basking in Queen Zeal's glory. Yet beneath the elegance is a rot of hubris. The enlightened ones see themselves as superior to the earthbound fellow, their ambition binding them to the cost of their pursuit of power. Queen Zeal's obsession with immortality drives her to harness Lavos' power through the Mammon machine, a device whose very name evokes greed and idolatry. Her children, Scala and Yanis, stand as moral foils to her ambition. Scala is compassionate yet powerless to defy her mother, while Yanis' bitterness and foresight set him on a dark path to becoming Magus. The prophet Magus in disguise warns of catastrophe, but Queen Zeal dismisses him. Her arrogance seals the kingdom's fate. The tragedy unfolds as Chrono and his allies attempt to stop the Ocean Palace disaster. Lavos awakens, and in the moment that forever shifts the tone of the story, Chrono sacrifices himself to protect his friends. It is the price of Zeal's hubris, a devastating reminder that unrestrained ambition destroys not just civilizations, but the lives of those who dare oppose it. The Ocean Palace collapses, Zeal is consumed by chaos, Scala vanishes, leaving behind unanswered questions and unresolved grief. Everything about Zeal emphasizes ambition pushed to dangerous extremes. Its dreamlike harps and cryptic dialogue create a surreal atmosphere, one that feels both alluring and unsettling. Conversations often drift into philosophy. They suggest a society so absorbed in abstract thought and self-importance that it has lost touch with humility and consequence. Zeal embodies the superego at its most dangerous. The superego is a part of the psyche that drives for ideals, morality, and perfection. But left unchecked, it becomes rigid and tyrannical, trying to reshape reality according to its vision without regard for consequences. Zeal is the Icarus of Chrono Trigger, flying too close to the sun and falling to ruin. What makes Zeal so powerful as a chapter is that it stands as both a dream and a warning. It shows the beauty of ambition and human potential at their peak, while reminding us that ideals without restraint lead to devastation. Chrono's sacrifice marks a turning point, not just for the story, but for the player. It makes clear that Chrono Trigger is not just about adventure, but about the choices we make, the ambitions we chase, and the price we pay for them. The present day is bright and cheerful. Chrono wakes up in the cozy home, his mother greeting him warmly. The millennial fair bustles with merchants, games, and fireworks. Life feels stable and predictable. This is the world at peace, the kind of normalcy that feels safe and permanent. Yet beneath this warmth is a sense of stagnation. The Chancellor's corruption goes unchecked, and Chrono is wrongfully convicted after Marley's disappearance, revealing that even a golden age has cracks beneath the surface. This era represents routine and comfort. The Millennial Fair is a polished echo of the festival from prehistory. The primal drinking contest has become a soda chugging game. Feasting has turned into consumerism, and survival has been replaced by entertainment. Humanity's desire for pleasure is still present, but it has been domesticated, packaged, and commodified. It is a progress, but it is also complacency. The trial sequence is one of Chrono Trigger's most brilliant mechanics. Small actions at the fair, such as helping Marley, eating an old man's lunch, or ignoring someone's cat, are all judged later in court. Players realize that even in the world of comfort, morality and responsibility still matter. The game quietly reminds us that our routine actions have consequences. Even when life feels easy and the stakes seem low, comfort can numb us to accountability, but it never removes it. This period also emphasizes how people take peace for granted. Characters go about their daily lives unaware of the danger approaching. Just as in real life, we assume that stability will last forever, until it suddenly does not. Chrono Trigger uses this era to contrast security with the fragility of normalcy. The comfort of the present makes the coming catastrophe more impactful because it feels like the loss of something real and familiar. This era reflects the ego, the part of the psyche that mediates between desire and reality. The ego allows society to function, finding balance between individual wants and the rules of the world. Yet the same stability can create a false sense of permanence. Chrono Trigger uses 1000 AD to remind players that comfort alone is not fulfillment. True growth requires looking inward, taking responsibility, and choosing to act rather than simply existing in routine. The future is desolate and lifeless. Humanity has been reduced to small groups of survivors, huddled inside cold metal domes, relying on machines to sustain them. The pods restore rest but not hunger. The haunting message that follows, "But you're still hungry," highlights the emptiness of a world that relies on convenience without truly addressing deeper needs. The world feels hollow, stripped of vitality and devoid of hope. Dawn is the face of despair. He represents a generation that has given up, one that no longer believes change is possible. Yet when Chrono's party gives him a single seed, that fragile glimmer of life rekindles something within him. It's a small act, but it resonates more than any grand battle. In the world so consumed by loss, hope is not found through power or conquest, but through simple possibility of growth. This future is the inevitable result of humanity's choices. Zeal's reckless ambition and Guardia's complacency have culminated in collapse. Technology, once a tool of progress, has become a crutch. Robo's personal journey mirrors this theme perfectly. As he confronts Mother Brain, the AI that seeks to wipe out humanity, Robo grapples with the same question that humanity must face. What does it mean to live with purpose rather than merely to exist? The snowy wasteland and ruined domes evoke imagery of nuclear winter. It is as if humanity has not only exhausted the Earth's resources, but has also lost the will to create a better future. Chrono Trigger represents this future not as a punishment from Lavos alone, but as the logical endpoint of unrestrained power and moral neglect. It is a warning that progress without responsibility leads to ruin. The Day of Lavos cutscene is the ultimate payoff for this theme. Silent, inevitable, and unstoppable, it shows Lavos rising from the ground and destroying everything in its path. Seeing the world end so plainly forces players to understand the stakes of their journey. The fight against Lavos is no longer just about adventure or heroism. It becomes a fight against despair, a chance to rewrite the future. This era embodies the reality principle that Freud described, the part of the psyche that confronts the consequences of unchecked desires. The future is the bill coming due for humanity's past actions, a stark reminder that choices have weight. Yet Chrono Trigger also shows that even in a world as broken as it is, hope can still exist. The seed, given to Dawn, becomes a powerful metaphor that change, however small, can ripple forward. It's a reminder that the future is not fixed. Even at humanity's lowest point, there is still the possibility of growth and renewal. When more than 3 people enter a time gate, they are sent to the end of time. It is a small liminal courtyard lit by a single lamppost, where Gaspar waits patiently. The area feels suspended outside of reality, a place where time itself has stopped. Specchio, the master of war, teaches that magic is not just a power to be wielded, but a force that comes from balance and inner strength. It is a lesson that hints at the deeper themes of the game. That true growth is as much internal as it is external. The end of time functions as both a gameplay hub and a metaphor. It is where the party rests, reflects, and prepares for what is to come. One character must always stay behind when traveling through a time gate. A quiet but powerful reminder that growth often requires letting go of attachments. The area encouraged players to pause and think before their next step. After Kronos' death, Gaspar's hints urged the player to complete unfinished business before facing Lavos, reinforcing the idea that self-reflection is a necessary step before meaningful action. Even small details here reinforce the theme of growth. Specchios' changing forms from frog to gnu mirror the party's increasing strength. As the heroes grow, so does the form of the being who teaches them. The pillars of light that lead to each era act as literal gateways, but they also symbolize the different parts of the self that the heroes have encountered on their journey. The end of time is a place of quiet. Unlike other locations filled with battles or events, there is no enemies, no urgency, only stillness. This makes it feel almost sacred, a place for introspection amid the chaos of the adventure. It is here that players can reflect on the paths they have taken, the people they have helped, and the lives they have changed. It is fitting that the plan to resurrect Chrono, a moment of sacrifice and love, begins in this still and timeless place. In Jungian terms, the end of time represents the self, the integrated whole that emerges when the id, ego, and superego are brought into balance. It is the point where every path in the game converges, a final moment of unity before the ultimate confrontation with Lavos. By placing this space outside of history, Chrono Trigger makes a quiet statement. The true end of the journey is not just victory over Lavos, but the understanding of everything the party has accomplished, the growth they have achieved, and the lives they have touched along the way. The end of time reminds players that reflection is as important as action. It is where the adventure pauses, where loss and hope meet, where the heroes prepare to face destiny with the lessons of every era behind them. It is Chrono Trigger's way of saying that meaning is not found only in battles won or futures saved, but in the understanding of how far we have come. Chrono Trigger isn't just about time travel. It's a story about human development. In prehistory, we lived by pure instinct. In Zil, we chase power and perfection. In the present, we grow comfortable in routine. In the future, we confront the cost of our choices, and at the end of time, we reflect and decide who we will become. This is why Chrono Trigger feels timeless. It's not just history, it's a mirror of our own lives, reminding us that the past, present, and future are never as distant as they seem, because every moment, every choice, every fleeting second we live is already shaping the world we leave behind.